I forgot to do that.
Okay, so for my demonstration speech, I'm going to demonstrate to you guys how to find the best book for yourselves if you guys have a lot of free time to read books, if you're lucky enough to have a lot of free time. The central idea is finding the right book for you in your spare time, whether it's an hour in the morning, an hour at night, whether it's all day, whether you're lucky enough to have the whole summer off. Not everybody is. And you want to find a book to read, this is how you find the best book to read. So like I said, you need to have a lot of free time, whether it's just a little time, in the morning or a little time at night, or, if you're working during your half an hour lunch, 45 minutes, whatever, and if you want to read, this is how, you get your good book. Usually, at least for me, when I'm reading a book, I disappear into the world of the book. So usually that, includes, you get memories of the book, you start visualizing what happens, and you just kind of get lost in it. There's tens and thousands of great books everywhere in the world, but you always have to find the one that's great for you. You can't just go along with a person and say, oh, you like that book, well, that's the book I want. You have to have your own unique book. And if you start reading a book and it's one that you really like and you find other people who like it, you can gain new friends from that. You can start a book club, you can conversate with people, you gain a lot of friends doing it, which is another good aspect to reading a new book. But in order to, get a good book, you have to make some decisions. So if that's from the author, if that's, for me at least, you have to look at the author. You have to look at when the book was published. You don't want like a super old book because those are really boring. You don't want, usually you wouldn't want like a too big of a page of a book. So like I've seen books for thousands of pages, and you may want one that's, only 300 to like 500 pages. So it's just what you prefer, and it's like, the decisions that you make. So what you will need to find your right book, you need a debit card, or a phone or laptop, or if you have some old books at home, just a pile of old books that you have not read. Like I said, think about how much free time you have. Don't try to push yourself to read a bunch of books if you don't have a lot of free time. That never works out. Just, do one book at a time. Do you want a big book? Do you want a small book? Harry Potter books are usually really, really big, where, some poetry books that you like are super small. It just depends on what you're comfortable with mostly. Like I said, the authors, if you want a super well-known author, if you don't know any authors at all, you can do research for them. It's just, how you decide. And like I said, how old the book is. You don't want a book that's from the 1800s. But maybe you don't want such a modern book from, say, the 2000s. Maybe you want kind of in the middle. So it's just depending on how you do your research and like everything that, you're looking for in that perfect book for yourself. You can't just pick a random book. You can't just go to Target one day and say, this is a book that's perfect for me. You have to do a little bit of research to really find the book that fits best for you. You don't want to, like I said, a super old book that you don't know anything about, and maybe you want a new book that you want to know more about. It's just about finding the best fit for you, not just the first one that you see on a shelf. Next is where and how to get a book. So when you've done your research online, you figure out what book you want to do. Usually, if you find it online and you can either only get it online or you just want to order online, you take your debit card and you purchase it from whatever website you want, and it'll show up in the mail 7 to 10 days, probably. If you want to go in store and do it, you take your debit card and you go to any store that you want and get the book that you want, and there's your perfect book. Or if you're kind of like me, where I have thousands of books in my room and I haven't read any of them, and you want one from your old collection, you just read about it and learn about it and just choose a book that you want from there. And whatever way you do that, you have your book. And finally, just remember that, you know, reading is fundamental. It's not necessary for some people, but, you know, it keeps your brain going and it keeps everything going. But just do the research, find all the aspects that you want to it, you know, find the books that work well for you, and enjoy reading with your free time.